Hi, I'm Aussie and welcome to my Football Manager 2019 experiment where we've basically skipped forward 100 years to see what football looks like. Now today we're going to do Arsenal, and we can see here still in the Premier League, which is good. Looks like they had a bit of a dip there last season, but let's have a look and see what the club has done. If we go to the overview, 8 Champions League titles. You do win one, Arsenal fans. There we go, 20 Premier League titles as well. Anything else there? 25 FA Cups, 9 Europa Leagues, and some Carabao Cups as well. If we go and have a look at competitions more generally, let's go and have a look at honours. And we can see here, Champions League winners, look at that, several times, 8 in fact, 14-time runners-up though, that's probably not what you want. 20 Premier League titles as well, sort of spread out, looks like the 60s were a good time for you. 20, 64, 65, 67 and 68. So look forward to that one, Arsenal fans. If you are new to the channel too, please do subscribe if you're just stumbling across this. Have a look around and see what else we have. I do have an Arsenal Let's Play where you might enjoy that. Anything else here? Club World Cup, if you're interested in that. Europa League a few times. Let's go and have a look at these competitions in more detail. So domestic leagues. First things first, do we see a relegation? No, it doesn't look like we do. So it's still an ever-present. Still a Premier League ever-present. Let's have a look at these positions here. 6th, 3rd, sort of top. Always, look at that for consistency. Always in and around the top. Well, top 6. Always top 6. Always top 6. Always top 6. I haven't seen it outside the top 6 yet. There's a 7th. There's a 7th down here in, what's that, 71, 72. Otherwise, top 6. This is remarkable consistency. Another 7th. I'm a Villa fan. For a 7th to be a horrible season in the 40s. So 2 times is another 7th coming up here. A few more. Here we go. Dark days. 7th and 8th. So in the 30s and the 20s. Look at that. That's a few seasons there in a row in the 20s. That's unacceptable, isn't it? Never once in 100 years lower than 8th. That is incredible. That is absolutely remarkable. Mind you, not too many titles in there considering. Very often the bridesmaid, it looks like, in that sense. But consistency, I like that. Okay, let's have a look at the Champions League. We'll go down here to sort of more modern times. I know you're sort of behind my head here, so I'll try and skip through. 2024, you lose a final to Real Madrid. That's unfortunate. Don't get out of the group there. We've lost in the first knockout round. Lost in the semi-final to Spurs. Good thing my head's hiding that one. You can kind of see here. Lifted the Champions League, beat Spurs in the final. There you go. You got your own back. In 2047-48. Lost to Chelsea in the final. That one would hurt as well, I would imagine. Beat Spurs again. You only beat Spurs in the final, it looks like. Lost to Tottenham in a final, so that hurts again. Anything else here? Quarterfinals, semi-finals, first knockout round. Lost to Manchester United in a final there. Beat Real Madrid. Lost to Dortmund. Lost to Paris in a final as well. So lots of finals. Lost to Liverpool in a final. But you won 2 here in a row against Liverpool and City as well. First knockout rounds. Lost a final to Leicester City. Good on Leicester. Lifted us. What did we beat there? Beat Real Madrid. Beat Leicester. Leicester making finals in the Euro Champions League. That's alright, isn't it? Lost to City. Beat Bayern Munich. Look, a lot of time spent in the Champions League though. 3rd in the group. That's disappointing, isn't it? Another fail to get out of the group. And there we go. So I'd say that's lots of finals in there. It's just a shame a few of them were losses to Spurs. Europa League here. This season coming, you lose to Milan in the final. I mean, that's not unrealistic to expect. Hopefully, if you get there, you'll win it. Let's see here. Lifted it. Beat Lazio and Valencia in finals. Beat Leverkusen in a final. What's that? Lost to Juventus in extra time in the final. Quarterfinals. Beat Wolves twice in finals. Beat Manchester United in the Europa League. That's Arsenal, Manchester United in the Europa League seems wrong somehow, doesn't it? Beat Napoli. Lost to Manchester United in another final. Lost to Madrid, Atletico Madrid in a final. Lost to Leicester in a final. Leicester kind of have, although you did beat them in a Champions League final as well, and then you won against Leverkusen, just pushing 100 years in the future. FA Cups. Let's have a look here. 3rd round. What's that? That's 5th round. Lost to Liverpool in the final. We'll kind of skip through this. I'm not sure how interesting FA Cups are. We lost to Manchester City in a final there. Manchester City in a final. There's a few finals back to back there against Liverpool and Leicester. I tell you what, Leicester City make some finals, don't they, in the next 100 years? Liverpool, City, and Liverpool again, 3 in a row. Yeah, if you are interested, if you check out the Football in 100 Years playlist, I've done sort of all the major competitions, the Premier League, the World Cup, the Champions League. I'll take requests for clubs as well, but United in a final there. Yeah, take requests. So if you have a club you'd like to see in a final, then just let me know. We won't do Carabao Cup because I think if we go back here, there was no, that's not what I want. I want to go here and then honours. I think there was a few Carabao Cups in there, but it's probably not something you particularly care about. Yeah, 2040. Oh no, so 20. Arsenal's only won the Carabao Cup twice. I didn't know that. I thought they'd won it more than that. I just assumed, I guess, they'd won it more than that. 2031, 44, 51, 64, 87, 92, 96, 2106, and 2113. It almost seems like there's a puzzle in there somewhere, doesn't it? So not really regular winners of that. Let's go and have a look at club records. We know that won the Premier League. The lowest league position, 10th in the Championship. In all your history, that's your worst. That is quite a history, Arsenal. 93 points is a record in the season, relatively recently. These are all other standing records. Fewest draws, 3. Anything else here? 80,000 is a new your record attendance against Southampton. Let's take a look at the stadium, see what that is, if it's still the Emirates or if you've moved on. That was against Southampton, though. Biggest transfer fee, you paid 104 million, almost 105 million for Wilfried Zaha next season. So there you go. Always wide attacking players with Arsenal, isn't it? They received 117 million from Leicester for a player. Theus Moyes is the top goal scorer of all time, 307. We'll have a look at him a little bit closer. I'm going to assume he's in the all-time 11. But Henry's record is gone. Most overall goals in a season, 45 goals in a season. Most appearances, Stephen Jones, that's a new record as well. Anything else here? Youngest player, 15 years, 301 days. Joseph Vincent in a Champions League quarter-final at 15. He must have been some sort of a player. Anything else here? Most clean sheets. Youngest goal scorer is still Cesc Fabregas. Oldest goal scorer is still Jock Rutherford. Jock? Probably sounds roughly the same, doesn't it? Let's go have a look at these facilities. And you are at Arsene Wenger Park. There we go. It's a brand new stadium built in 2072. Nice to see Wenger still remembered so many years on. Yeah, it's an 80,000 seater. So Arsene Wenger Park it is, guys. Now let's go back and have a look now at this all-time 11. Is there anybody there from the current team? Any names that we recognise? Not instantly. Well, the all-time record goal scorer is there. Stephen Jones is there, but no one from the current team, which is surprising. Let's go have a look at this goalkeeper, Diego Ramos Mingo. I love the name Mingo. I can imagine the songs from the terraces. Looks like a decent goalkeeper though, 36. You'd expect that though. He would be getting on towards the end, wouldn't he? Let's go and have a look at the milestones here. He's won a few things here with Arsenal. Let's have a look at the career stats. You can see he's been at the club since, 14, 15 years now. So no wonder he is fondly thought of. 63 million from Boca Juniors, Argentine goalkeeper. So he played 662 games for the club. It's Nicholas Roth as a right back. He's at Schalke now. He's German. He's 26, so he's still young, isn't he? He was at Arsenal for 4 seasons, it looks like, before getting sold on. Doesn't look that good, to be honest. Apparently, right back is a bit of a weakness. Surely Bellerin did better than that for you. That surprises me that he is there. 138 games, 2 goals, but only at 6.74 rating. I'm not quite sure why he's in there. Mohamed Digna, is it Dagna? He's retired now, a 37-year-old Frenchman. Can we see his time here? Bought from Lyon, spent, what's that, 6, 7 seasons there. Looks like he did okay. Only okay, though, really. Again, not sure that he's the best option, but we don't know what sort of players you've had. But I would have imagined you had some better defenders than that. Now, this one here, Alexis Richaud, 201 games. Again, relatively low average rating, 31-year-old. Looks like a decent player, though, so perhaps that gets taken into account. Signed from Bournemouth. He's been here, 5 years or 4 years. He's about to start his 5th year. Yeah, I'm going to say nothing really special there, is there? Marco, if only you had Polo at right back, that'd be perfect, wouldn't it? 26-year-old Spanish kid. Look at those physical stats. Really, really good. Not surprising to see him in there. He's signed from Hajduk. Hajduk Split. That's unusual to have. He was Spanish, was he not? Or did I? No, he's Spanish. It's weird to have a Spanish player signed from a Croatian club. Anyway, you can see he's had a decent time. 4 years so far. And done okay. Sam Barron, central midfielder, 726 games he played for the club. Only 36 goals in that time. He's still there, 35-year-old English player. 176 caps for England. Let's have a look here. He's spent a long time at the Arsenal, hasn't he? He's been there for, 14, 15 years. Signed from Blackburn. And look at those games. Mr. Reliable, over 30 games every season. For, what did I say? It was 14 seasons, 13 seasons. That's impressive, isn't it? No wonder he is in that team. He would be fun. The average rating, he's not the best player, strangely enough, but certainly very fondly thought of. Isov Colin here, another central midfielder. Decent enough, isn't he? Ivorian. Looks like he spent a season out on loan in between, sort of breaking up his time at Arsenal. Again, he looked a decent player, but perhaps not the best average rating. And it's surprising to see someone that's considered in Arsenal's best all-time 11 was sent out on loan midway through the spell at the club. That's a little bit surprising. Maybe not the best option. 6.74 is an average rating too. Now look at this. 821 games, 466 goals. Stock void here, 37-year-old. Looks like he's retired. Unfortunately, we can't see exactly a season-to-season breakdown. But 557 goals, appearances, 314 goals. That's an impressive career. I'm sure he has a statue right next to the great Thierry Henry. Declan Cleary, 632 games, just under 400 goals. Good average rating as well, but this is more like it. This is what we would expect. Irish, which is extra good, I guess, isn't it? 33, still going strong. And he has spent essentially his entire career at Arsenal. It looks like he was signed from Bray. No, they're an Irish club, aren't they? Spent a year on loan in the Championship at Swansea before he sort of really broke into the first team. And once he did, look at that, he never looked back. 31 goals in a season there, 31 goals again. Declan Cleary, ladies and gentlemen, he looks a decent player, doesn't he? And he's still going, as I said. Marco Antonio Gomez, 845 games, 414 goals. Tell you what, there's these front four for Arsenal have some goals between them, don't they? Mexican, looks like he spent some time in Mexico and China before joining Arsenal, where he played 582 games, 268 goals. That's sort of total, not just league goals, of course. That's league goals, not total. This is total, other way around. Now here's this guy that's the all-time leading goal scorer, 508 goals in an Arsenal shirt for 788 games. That is impressive stuff. Signed from Ajax, just destroyed the league. Was it early 60s all the way through to the late 70s. Then went back to PSV for his swan song. Looks like a season at either end there, doesn't it, roughly? What a player, though. What a player. 172 goals. Sorry, 171 appearances, 151 goals for his country. That's Messi-esque numbers, isn't it? That is absolutely Messi-esque. That's amazing. Looks like a goalkeeper here. 853 games for the club in the 80s into the early 2100s, I guess. 563 games, as I said. Spent the majority of his career at Arsenal. No doubt fondly remembered. We'll just kind of hurry through the reserves here. 668 games for Michael Granger. Burnley, Fulham, and then spent the rest of his career in the late 70s through to the early 90s with Arsenal. 2090s, of course, that is. Marek Motchak here for just under 750 games, 9 goals in that time. You get defender vibes, don't you? A left back. And again, spent a year in Poland, probably a year in Russia, and then spent the rest of his time, the 70s all the way through to the late 80s at Arsenal. He was, of course, as I said, a Polish player. What's this? Cezaro Dumijamadi, another Dutch guy. I'll just mumble my way past his name. In the 50s, he was there, mid-50s to late 60s. Did a job, by looks like. He was a striker. He's got pretty stiff competition in the history of the club for strikers, though. And it looks like it just keeps getting stronger here. Stephen Jones. He was a striker. 135 goals for England, so he's broken Rooney's goal-scoring record. From Trinidad and Tobago, it looks like, initially, before obviously converting to England and scoring a load of goals for Arsenal. He was there, what's that say, from the 2029 to 2050. So that is 21 years at the club. Very, very fondly remembered, no doubt. Jose Suarez, 707 games. It was 202 goals, I think, if I saw that correctly. Just 56. He's been retired for a little while here. We can see his history there from the mid 80s, early 80s, all the way through to the late 90s. Lot of time spent at the club, and obviously fondly remembered because he's in the all-time 11. And finally, I think I clicked, no I didn't, Eduardo Bereza, just under 600 games, a striker from Argentina. Spent some time in Argentina and Spain before making his name at Arsenal. Again, this is the early 90s through to the 2100s. Yeah, I tell you what, some of these goal numbers here are just insane, aren't they? Just insane. But there you go, guys. That is Arsenal over the next 100 years. Consistent, if not wonderful, I'd say. But certainly your fair share of trophies. And like I say, Premier League always in the top 10, or only barely out of the top 6. That's really, really impressive stuff. I do have an Arsenal Let's Play, as I said. If you want to go and check that out, I'll leave a little linky thing just up there. But until next time, I'm Aussie Villain. If you have enjoyed that, please do like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you next time. Take care.